Chair recognizes Councilman Greenlee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning to you all. How are you? I guess a different kind of question, but I've heard from some parents who have, I guess we call potential students in some of the more desired schools, Masterman, Central, whatever, that, and obviously the list often, particularly for Masterman, is often long because there's only so many spots available. And the concern they raised was, as I understand, there are some students, at least some of those schools, that are from the suburbs and there's a payment to the school district. Is that correct?
That is, yes.
Okay. Obviously, the concern that these folks raised was, that they're paying real estate taxes. They're buying stuff in the city, paying the sales tax, and yet their student might just be falling just short of the number to get in, and that there are some students from outside the city. So I was wondering what your reaction to that is. That a program or a policy that's been in place for a long time? How many students are there in these schools? Again, I have nothing against suburban kids or the school district making a little money, but you see where I'm coming from, I think, with the
actually,
concern.
yes, and thank you, Councilman. And actually, it doesn't generate revenue. It just pays for the service that's provided, and that is a policy that has been in place for some time. I would like to ask Karen Lynch to come up and talk specifically about how we are looking at that. We just got some new information from the Pew team, research team around this issue as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. For the record, I'm Karen Lynch, Chief of Student Support Services with Philadelphia School District. It is something that we're looking at. The numbers are not that great. The opportunities are really, the priority.
Can you speak a little bit more in the microphone? Yeah. Thank you.
Better?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm getting old, so.
So right now it is a policy that we're currently looking at. We're identifying the numbers. The numbers right now preliminarily are not that great.
Could you define not that great? If you don't have it right now, I'd like to know what those numbers are.
I don't have the numbers right now, but
if you could provide it.
Absolutely, we will provide that.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Talk about what you.
That's it. Okay. I guess I'm sorry. I guess my concern is that, well, you heard what I said, and what is the thinking there? Like, why did this start? That, suburban. I'm not trying to play an us and them, but we got students that are trying to get in schools like Masterman that are qualified to be in Masterman, but just fall a little bit short. So I can see the frustration of a parent who wants to keep their student in the public school system, maybe even stay in the city, and there's spots that they can't get in.
So again, thank you for the opportunity. We have several schools right now within Philadelphia where we have looked at the needs of the school, looked at the community, recognized that there are more students within the community going to the neighborhood schools that are available, and therefore we have limited the enrollment. Masterman limited the enrollment to just those students that are within the catchment because the popularity is so great. Masterman, as we know, is one of the top-rated schools in the state, and we have had applications of students into that school, and what we look at is the top 1%. So while there are not very many, there are in fact. It's something that we are looking at because it's an indication of how popular our schools are.
Yeah.
Councilman Greenlee, I would just also add that in some cases there are children who started in our schools who want to finish their experience, and so it's not just Masterman, but it's some other schools. And then in other cases, there could be opportunities like the CTE program or performing arts program that children want to access. And I'd like to say that as long as it's not eliminating an opportunity for a child who is in the city, it is a problem that is not necessarily a bad problem. I mean, because we have now schools that are more attractive to individuals who are not just here in the city, but abroad. I mean, but in other
Outside the
counties.
city.
But by the same token, it cannot, we have to ensure that it doesn't eliminate an opportunity for a child or family that lives in the city.
Yeah, but doesn't it really? I mean, in all due respect, wouldn't it? Because I know a lot of, I use Masterman as an example because I know people in my home area that are trying to get in there. And it would seem like that's a good example because of the limited amount of space.
Yeah,
in a school
I mean,
like Masterman. So aren't you really eliminating the possibility?
In that case, yes. I mean, so in that case, that's an exception. But we have other schools where we have there's space available in the programs like CTE, and individuals want to access those programs, and individuals are then paying the tuition to be educated in that school. And so, yes, so in places where we have space available and individuals are interested in those programs, yes. But in other, as I indicated before, we have to look at that practice in terms of what schools, right? And if schools like Masterman that take the top 1% of children who qualify, that those seats should be held for the top 1% of children in Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia? Yeah. All right, my time's up, I'm sorry, but
A follow-up?
yeah, just quickly. First, if you could get us those numbers.
Sure.
Who it is. But I would think in most of those programs, this is just my opinion, you know more about this than I do, that there's Philly kids that could get in almost all of those. I mean, it's hard to believe that there would be not Philadelphia children that could get in the CTE or any of those kind of.
I just want to add that Commissioner McGinley chairs the policy committee for the School Reform Commission, and this is one of the issues that's slated to come up in the coming months. And so we have a committee briefing that goes on. The public has an opportunity to comment, and then it eventually reaches the SRC for final consideration. But that specific issue is one of the things we're going to be taking up in the next few months.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And we'll get the numbers to you too.
If you
it's-
could, I'd be
right.
interested
Yeah.
in those for the given schools that there are.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.